Us tonight that they're using that camera footage, trying anyway, to get a license plate off that getaway vehicle in Sun Valley. I'm Rick Chambers. Guys, I'll throw it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Rick. Now to developing news in Tennessee, where 19 people are missing, many presumed dead after an explosion leveled a munitions manufacturing plant.
The factory mainly manufactures explosives for the Army and Navy, including everything from landmines to C4. The blast was so powerful, it rattled homes miles away and set off smaller explosions.
John Fenolio is here at studio with the latest on the search for the victims. John.
Micah, share emergency crews, including bomb technicians, are searching for victims in a smoking debris field that remains highly volatile. Now, while the extent of the death toll remains unclear, the sheriffs in Humphreys County, Tennessee, says it's one of the most devastating situations he's ever seen.
Can I describe the building? There's nothing to describe. It's gone.
A blast zone spanning at least a half-mile area following a massive explosion at a military explosives manufacturing plant in Tennessee.
Central to city fire, central to all city fire. Need to get en route to Accurate Arms.
The explosion reported just before 8 a.m. at Accurate Energetic Systems, which specializes in the development, manufacturing, and storage of explosives for the military, aerospace, and demolition industries. One of the 8 buildings on the 1,300-acre campus, now a smoldering debris field.
There's a gas line on fire, and there's about 12 people that are unaccounted for as of right now.
Multiple secondary explosions initially prevented first responders from approaching the site, which is located about 60 miles southwest of Nashville. The explosion rattling homes miles away. This home security camera more than 10 miles away, capturing the sound and shockwave of the blast.
I felt something that it felt like something just hit the house. It just rocked.
Many people in the community work at the plant. Humphreys County Sheriff Chris Davis, emotional, explaining the search for the dead and missing.
We do have 19 souls. That we're looking for. So, excuse me, I ask you to keep in mind those families.
Anthony May is a retired ATF investigator and explosives expert.
This particular company manufactures explosives. So it could have been something that occurred during the manufacturing process or items that had just been completed or items that were in storage. Once they determine where the explosion occurred, then they can figure out what kind of operations was happening in that particular area.
And we just got an update. Officials in Humphreys County, Tennessee say one of the 19 missing is now accounted for. The ATF and FBI are leading the investigation to determine the cause of the explosion. Back to you.
What is your name?
A dramatic takedown of a journalist on the streets of Chicago. This scene unfolding as a judge moves to temporarily block federal agents from using forceful tactics to suppress protests or impede the work of journalists. The woman you just saw being placed under arrest is a producer for our sister station WGN.
A witness said it was, quote, absolutely horrifying to see how agents treated the producer. Let's get right out to Lindsay Pena live from the KTLA News Center with the controversy. Lindsay.
Sharon, Micah, several people spoke about what they saw. One actually getting video of that journalist screaming her name as she lay on the ground. You just saw that. All this as the Trump administration vows to appeal the decision to block the deployment of federal troops to the streets of Chicago.
You're at Lincoln and Foster, and they just took this woman.
I heard yelling and screaming and honking. I ran downstairs to see what was going on. It looked like Border Patrol agents in a minivan had slammed some lady to the ground.
The woman being detained is an employee of WGN's Creative Services Department, identifying herself as Debbie Brockman. The station says they're choosing not to name the employee, as station policy requires blurring faces and not identifying those who haven't been charged with a crime. Josh Thomas lives in the condos above the scene near Lincoln and Foster. When he made his way down around 8:30 Friday morning, he realized there was another person already in the minivan being used by ICE agents.
I didn't get his name, although I asked for his name. He didn't speak very good English. They claimed that the WGN employee was obstructing justice, even though she was like all of us, just standing here taking video.
The scene was also captured by a woman in a cab on her way to the airport.
She was walking east, we were driving west, and that's when I took out my phone, and they had just tackled her and brought her into the street, and that's when I asked her, what's your name?
What is your name?
According to the Department of Homeland Security, the WGN employee, a U.S. citizen, threw objects at Border Patrol's car, and she was placed under arrest for assault on a federal law enforcement officer. The incident happening during another day of protest near the ICE detention facility in Broadview. On Thursday, a federal judge granted a temporary restraining order, barring National Guard troops from taking part in immigration operations.
So it is up to the defendants to make certain that they abide by the judge's order.
The White House responded to the judge's move to grant the TRO, writing in part, President Trump will not turn a blind eye to the lawlessness plaguing American cities, and we expect to be vindicated by a higher court. A different federal judge also ruled the fence erected around the Broadview facility must come down after a suit was filed arguing it was built without permits and could impact first responder times.
There's no other reason that this could be possible, that they don't want to have a safe Chicago. And we can solve the problem very quickly. And we're doing that anyway, regardless of if he doesn't want it or if he does want it, we're doing it anyway.
President Trump says he may invoke the Insurrection Act to get around the courts, something the Illinois Attorney General is bracing for.
They're ready for what may come next.
WGN TV is reporting that the Border Patrol released the employee from federal custody without charges as of 3 p.m. today. A spokesman for the U.S. Attorney in Chicago confirmed no charges have been filed in the employee's case as of earlier this evening. That's the latest from the News Center. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Lindsay, thank you. Federal immigration agents hit another car wash, this time in San Gabriel. Video posted to social media captures the raid that happened around 11:20 this morning at Mission Car Wash. A witness says agents blocked off the roads surrounding the business before moving in. He says at least 8 people were detained. It's not clear where they were taken. We have reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for details on the raid, but have not yet heard back.
Mourners gathered in Monrovia tonight to honor the memory of a Guatemalan man who died while trying to escape ICE agents during an immigration raid this summer. 52-year-old Carlos Montoya was hit by a car on the 210 freeway as he tried to run from federal agents who raided a Home Depot in Monrovia in August. Those who knew Montoya say he was a hardworking man committed to providing for his 4 daughters back home in Guatemala. The Department of Homeland Security says Montoya was not being pursued by DHS agents, but witnesses at the scene of his death contradict those claims. Tonight, they are calling for accountability.
We want answers. We want accountability. We want names. And we want change. These were workers, not criminals. They gave everything.
The California Highway Patrol is still investigating the events leading up to Montoya's death.
New details in the story we brought to you last night. Tonight, we are hearing from the LA County Sheriff's Department as deputies search for even more victims they believe have been targeted by OnlyFans model Adva Lavi. Lavi is accused of using social media, dating apps, and other subscription-based platforms to scheme and steal from people. The Sheriff's Department has identified at least a dozen so far, including older, wealthy men. They say that she gains their trust, then burglarizes their homes, and investigators believe her crime spree didn't stop there.